You are listening to Normalized Crime, an in-depth look at gang life and all the effects that come along with it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Normalized Crime. I'm Eric.
What's going on, man? Berto here.
And we are back again, starting our second episode, or our second interview of this 3-episode series. So we're back this week with Blue. What can you tell us about Berto before we jump into the interview?
So Blue's he's a good guy, man. Once again, another guy I met in prison. But man, his story is really, really crazy. And I feel like we just we hit the tip of the iceberg with a lot of what he went through and what he knows, you know what I'm saying? But his story is literally from start to finish, man. It's just so, right out the gate, I'll let it be known he was a former Aryan Brotherhood. So, he started as an NLR, which is a Nazi lowrider, became an Aryan Brotherhood. But, if anybody knows or heard about those gangs, they're basically prison gangs. They're primarily prison gangs. They're violent, and they've kind of got especially the Aryan Brotherhood. They got if there's an award for the most violent prison gang, I think they have it. Maybe not so much now. I don't know the demographic now or how it would be in there now. But I know at one point, they were the most violent. And that was, during the era which Blue was coming up in. And so, yeah, I think everybody's going to like to listen. It was a really good interview.
Yeah. And if you're looking for violence, there's a scary amount of violence in this episode. And just unbelievable things that happen. So
for sure.
So we'll jump right into the interview and we'll see everybody back afterwards. So here we go.
I'm fortunate today to have a guest with me, longtime friend, somebody who's been through the struggle, same struggle that I have, but for a little bit longer than I was. He's from Southern Cali, man, South Bay. Guy did 30 plus years in prison. There's a lot of things I could say, but I'm going to let him tell his story. We'll talk about where he's came from and obviously about where he's at now and where he's going. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really what this show is about. Just showing like how people can transition, people can turn over a new leaf, man. When you come from the gutter, it's easy to continue down that life. That's actually the easy way out. Like a lot of people, they use that as a badge of honor. Man, I come from the street. That's but that's not the hard way. The hard way is to get up every day, go to work, the same monotonous bullshit, make a way for yourself, make a way for your family. Like those are the real hard workers. But without further ado, man, I just want to introduce my boy Blue. What's up, Blue? Say what's up.
Hey, what's up, man?
So what I like to do, man, when I start is just kind of get a little bit of background, man. Maybe talk about where you're from, kind of talk about the environment you grew up in, whatever you're really comfortable with. And I'll interject some questions along the way if you don't mind. So go ahead, take off.
I'll do my best. I'm not like a public kind of guy. I'm very private. Never talked on no podcast. Never planned on it, but hey, here I am.
Me neither. That makes two of us. I
mean, I guess you could say, in a nutshell, my fucking parents were junkies. Dad was in and out of prison. I was in foster homes from 8 years old up. Juvenile detention center. Went right to prison as a senior in high school. Never got out until I was 48. So, I mean,
that's a lot. That's a lot packed in there. That's a lot packed in there.
Yeah.
So,
that's just this synopsis.
Right.
There's a lot that goes on with that.
I imagine, and we're gonna get in. I can't wait to get into it. I think the commonalities right out the gate, bro, is just there's always
broken homes.
There's always broken homes that start the road. Drugs, they start the road.
Addictive,
alcoholism,
all that.
So I think that's the first thing people, we establish is, you'll find a one-off where somebody came from a good home and they broke bad. But the majority of the time, it's the broken homes, man.
Yeah. No fathers in the house, shit like that.
Right. I started early, just like you. I went in my first bid in juvie, was 15 to 17, got out for 3 months and was indicted at 18, right? And so my story's similar in the sense that we went in right away. The biggest difference here is you never got out. So
I did a joke.
if you don't mind, let's talk about first, like, what kind of led you into that gang atmosphere? Was it just friendships? Was it something that kind of stuck out to you that you wanted to aspire to be? I just had an interview last week. My friend, he was telling me, man, he was kind of looking for a father figure in so many different areas of his life.
I think that's a component. That is definitely
a
component to most. It's a commonality for most people that move through life like that, in that mode. They end up in gangs. It's a very common factor. I just know that because you got to remember this too, is I was in foster homes when I was 8 years old, in group homes and shit like that.
Okay.
And oddly enough, a lot of those dudes I was there with were in juvenile hall with me later on, and they were in prison with me later on. I'm talking 20, 30 years later. I'm seeing dudes that I was in group homes with.
Wow.
And so it's like it's a little known secret. Most of those people don't make it.
Right.
When you got kids going through foster homes, they're fucked up system. You're getting abused, all kind of crazy shit. And those kids, and it's weird, it was people from all races. And it was mostly Mexicans and blacks.
Okay.
And even like during struggle where you might not be getting along with these cats, these cats. And you're always like, hey, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Right.
I know this dude 20, 30 years. And you're like, you see him and it's like, you nod like, we know we're still the same motherfucker. You know what I mean? You're good dudes, just on a different side of the political situation.
Right. So you grew up in diversity. You didn't grow up in a predominantly white neighborhood or predominantly Mexican. You grew up in a diverse area.
Yes, it's Los Angeles County, man. And I mean, I was a little gangbanger from an early age.
What gangs? Well, especially back then, what gangs dominated I know Sureños is huge, right? But obviously there's different factions if I'm not mistaken.
As a kid, I'd never seen Sureños as a gang. I didn't see them as a gang. I seen them as a bunch of different gangs.
Okay.
That the Sureño part of it basically claimed allegiance to the Mexican mafia.
Okay.
And the 13, the M, the relation, so like, for instance, I guess they call it a gang. Sureños is a gang now. But all those Sureños are from different gangs. And most of those guys are from enemy gangs where it's bad blood. But when they get to prison, that shit don't play no more. So you'll see guys in juvenile hall, the Sureños, they're at each other's throats. But when they turn 18 and go to prison, that's who embraces you when you first get to the yard. It's the people in your region. And the guys in your region are your fucking enemies.
Right.
So they're the ones that check your paperwork when you get there. They're the ones, if you clear out, they're giving you care packages. They're looking out for you. Hey, and if you're no good, they're the ones dealing with you.
Okay.
Dudes from your area.
Nice.
And that's just how it works. Now, this is a weird thing here is that I'm white. And, I was from a neighborhood out there, which is considered a Sureño neighborhood. They fall under that. All right.
Okay.
But I rode white. And the reason, because I'm white. I mean, my father's in prison. My older brother's in prison. And I remember getting a visit at the county jail when I was on my way to prison. And they were like, bro, check it out. You're going to go to Chino when you get there. Mind you, I'm 18 years old, 130 pounds.
Fresh.
Just turned 18 years old. All right?
Yeah.
And I'm a little fucking lowrider. I'm a little gangbanger. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay, so you were NLR. That was the first gang.
No. It was Lomita, which means Little Hill. But that's it. It's a little neighborhood in Los Angeles County. All right.
Okay, so that was the initiation. That's
the gang I'm from on the streets. All right.
Okay.
Now this is
if you don't mind, touch on that. Like, what's the initiation process?
Oh, you get jumped in. You get
jumped in.
All that, and usually it's dudes. Now, dudes you grow up with.
Okay.
And you go to school with, and you just know them. And
is there a structure, or is it kind of you guys are rogue?
No, there's a structure. You fall under the Mexican mafia, bro. I mean, that's just the way it works.
Right.
You know, there might be a little structure. It's a small neighborhood, but I remember when I came up, the smallest neighborhood in the area were basically running the Mexican mafia, and they're like a couple neighborhoods over, La Rana, and there was a pair of twins that were running it, and they're from the smallest neighborhood over there, and they're a neighborhood right by our neighborhood. I remember we had to give them these we couldn't even beef with those guys because they're all related to mobsters, and you lay one of them
now what
down,
you know,
yeah, you smoke one of them cats, and your whole neighborhood's in the hat. I mean, it was crazy,
right?
You know,
right. And so for the people that don't know what that means, translation, if your name goes in a hat, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
That means they're going to kill you.
Go in a hat. It's just
it's not literal. Yeah, it's not literal.
It's figure of speech.
Right.
It's
Green light,
hat,
you know what I'm saying? For us, we had the KOS, which is the kill on sight, you know.
It's basically the same thing.
Basically the same shit.
But so that's the structure of that. And, once I got to like the upper echelons of things and started meeting those dudes from La Rana, it was like, I met those cats. I was in Pelican Bay with those guys. I was with Cork and Shoe and Pelican Bay with those cats. And everybody up there, they're all fucking hypes, bro. You don't realize it. I'm serious. They're all fucking heroin addicts, man. I'm talking like 99% of them. Rampant. Yeah, and they're just running roughshod, extorting all the Sureños. You can call it what you want. It's straight extortion. Right. You know? And but that's part of the culture. So they're already conditioned to be extorted by the big homies who are basically hypes that don't give a fuck about nothing. You know? Right.
They got no allegiance. No, they're about themselves.
Some of those guys are just straight up gangsters. But my experience with them, when you get into the upper echelons of power and you're in them isolation units back there with them, they tend to treat people like the Woods, because we kind of had a little quasi-alliance with them. We're good with them. We've always been cool with them. We got little skirmishes here and there, but they tend to like floss and treat us a little better than the random Sureños, you know? They just, it's like, they just got more respect for dudes that been around for 15, 20 years.
Right. Regardless of what you are.
They have contempt for dudes just pulling up. They just have contempt for them.
Right. So, so let's back up. If you don't mind, what'd you go to prison for? And how much time did you get?
What happened was this. I fell in with some cats from Eastside Longville. I was staying out in Long Beach, right? And one of my best friends is some cat named Stranger. And I don't know where that guy's at now, but we were doing dirt out there. We had a crew. We're out in North Long Beach. He's from East Long Beach. We're out in North Long Beach, which is like on the border, Compton. And we're out there by Compton.
Okay.
And so we're fucking jacking cars. We're like literally, we're cruising out to Orange County on like cruising night. And we're like pushing up on like lowrider clubs and like cutting them from the herd and taking their vehicles by gunpoint. And like,
right.
You know what
so
I'm saying?
Just straight wild boy shit.
Fucking hustle, because some of them cats are strapped. Right. You're getting shot sometimes. I mean, it's bad. I had a homie got shot in the ass, blew his nuts off from the back. You know?
Shot me in the ass.
But it went out the front, blew his, I mean, it's just crazy, bro. You know? Not a smart thing to do, but it's part of the culture. People respected that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're jacking cars. You're not just jacking cars. You're jacking dudes that are dangerous sometimes, you know, and you're taking their shit, putting it on yours. But see, we were doing it like this. We had a guy from, we had a fence from Compton, this cat, I'll just say Chewy from Segundo or something like that, you know, and he was giving us lists of shit. Like, I need all
like gone in 60 seconds type shit.
Yeah, like, I need the trim off of 64.
Oh,
I need
okay.
the front bumper off of this.
Chop shop.
If you could just get something, we'll cut them hydros off. I need them hydros ASAP. I got a man right now. I need some Dayton's, gold, preferably, whatever.
Right.
You know, we get some little bootleg McLarens, you know, just bullshit.
Right,
some
right.
KMCs, whatever. They were like orders.
Okay.
And so we were getting orders. He was fencing.
Right.
And he had like clients. It was lucrative.
Right.
But fucking dangerous and stupid.
Yeah.
Because you're rolling deep with fucking straps. And they just passed a carjacking law because people were smoking people carjacking. There was something in California where they were just throwing people away for using firearms. So we were doing dumb shit like that. And sometimes we wouldn't come from the herd because they were like They weren't such soft targets. But what you do is we'd follow them home. Literally, after we just cruise around and we'd follow. When they got over, we'd follow them home. We'd see where he parked. And this is what we'd do. We would set their alarm off in their private residence. And we'd be on their door. And when they come to turn it off, we're just like, give me those keys. And the odd thing is this. That's not a soft target either.
Right.
But it's convenient because they got their keys in their hand. And if you got the drop on them.
Because they might be coming out with a gun.
Sometimes they're just waking up going, what the fuck? My alarm's going off? And they're looking out the window. If they don't see nobody, I mean, when you're a teenager, you think you know everything.
Right. It's a gamble no matter what.
But when I look back on it, I'm like, that is just fucking idiotic.
Now, what's funny is it's similar, but like we used to find what they call wet parties, right? And wet parties is just a party of all our rivals, right? So if we heard about it and not all of them together, but I'm saying just rivals in a house, what we would do, we would go throw a brick through the window. Now you got everybody's drunk, testosterone through the roof. Who the fuck? They come out, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that quick. And it's a similar
fish in a barrel.
Right. Exactly.
I get it.
Exactly.
I get it.
And so you end up getting pinched.
So this is what I get. I get hit. All right. And I'm out I'm out at this spot in Orange County. It's in Anaheim. All right. And we go to Orange County. I don't hang out in Orange County. The only time I've been to Orange County is when we were hunting fucking TRGs. And these are fucking Cambodian. Back then, these fools were smoking Eastern Longevos. The dudes from Eastern Longevos, they were smoking them.
And they're Asian gang?
Yeah, they're Asian gang. But you couldn't find them because they didn't really have a neighborhood. Mm. They hung out in like college campuses where there's armed security and they were in college.
Okay.
But we identified them. They all drove Toyota Supras and Celicas. And they always had like KMCs on them, Okay. And that's how you identify. And the thing is the TRGs were dark Asians.
Mm. Okay.
They're more dark complected.
Right.
And, but man, these fools were late. They were smoking motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in 1990 to 91, right before I got busted, they killed 5 dudes from the Baqueños, a clique from East Alongo, which was the smallest one of their like 13 cliques. Mm. That's like half their little clique,
Right.
They were just
wiped them out.
One at a time, not all together.
Oh, okay.
They were just laying them out, bro, like with putting clips in them. And so that's the only time we'd go to court. But then I heard that it's easier to jack over there, that they weren't as stiff as the cats in LA. And so we went out there, which is not true. It was bad information. But we went out there,
blank mission.
and we were doing that, all right? Because we were kind of burning it out in other places. So we're looking for areas where they didn't know us, and,
right.
And like, we didn't know them, which makes it.
Right. Words getting around now.
It's easy because you don't know them. They're not stiff. They're like, I fuck these cats from Orange County.
Right.
But they were stiff. Someone was stiff. We got there and take their cars. Well, I took a car and it was shots fired at the scene. No one got shot. It was this spot out there where they cruise, like like once a month, every month they cruise there, and it's by some miniature golf spot in Anaheim, and there's like it's a bunch of cats there from like F Troop and Penguins, and and I don't know their little politics. That's been so long, but
so those are like different gangs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back then, F Troop was like the biggest gang in Orange County.
Okay.
Penguins, I think, are like Anaheim natives. Mind you, I'm 30 years removed, but so I take this vehicle. There's shots fired at the scene. Dude had a gun. I mean, it was just dumb, dangerous shit. So I ended up with the car and his gun.
Right.
And I get on the 91 freeway going back to Long Beach, and I'm with this fool from East Alongo, and we got a chase car with us. And there's a bunch of guys in there. They're all from East Alongo too, and it's my homeboy who used to live right next door to me, one of my best friends, and they're all strapped. I mean, we just cut a dude from the herd. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And now we got his vehicle. We're rolling back down the 91.
Yeah.
We get on the 91 and we're going. We stay right off the 91. We just got to get to Long Beach. Well, APB goes out. They see my car. The car. So there's a trooper right there, and we pass him, and he's on us. So I get in this hot pursuit chase. It's vicious. It's crazy.
Immediately.
I had a Glock back then. That was before people even knew what they were.
Right.
This is 91. Cops didn't have Glocks back then.
They're pulling out the revolvers.
9mm. with the extendo clip. I mean, it was, you know, we were buying it from these Asians in Long Beach. Boxes of them, you know? And they're all brand new. But, yeah, man, we get in this fucking crazy thing, and it's a long chase.
Yeah.
I get caught.
You get caught.
Well,
they fuck you up?
Oh, you know, they pulled me out of the house with dogs, and they whipped my ass. Hey, shit. It wasn't cool, man. But I ended up getting 7 years for that. And I had to take a deal, right? Because I tried to bail out. One of my homeboys came to the county. I'm in Orange County Jail now, mind you. One of my homeboys from my neighborhood, he just burned down the top floor of the Holiday Inn. He was cooking meth back then. And it wasn't even pot. That's right before it took off. But my homeboys in my neighborhood, they were cooking meth and marketing meth before anybody knew what it was. They were dyeing it funny colors.
Early 90s.
They were marketing it, like dyeing it green for St. Patty's Day, just doing weird shit. So we were doing meth, and we had chemical connections, and that's why we were making big meth back then. And so my homeboy, I won't say his name, but he burns down the top floor of the Holiday Inn, like pulling dope out of the oil. Like it's a last stage thing.
Right.
He gets arrested. He's bailing out. Him and his brother are going to bail me out. And right before we do it, I'm already going to get bailed out no matter what. But right before we do it, we ask for a reduction, which you're supposed to, right?
Right.
So we asked for a reduction. It's crazy. Is when I went to ask for a reduction, these motherfuckers hit me with like 7 more charges. Had people point me out. Did not do any of them.
Oh, okay. So
this was
false.
a thing back then. They literally dumped cases on dudes like me. I was young, had a public defender. You know, they're like, let's dump these cases on. We're clearing books. And they're called modus operandi, which basically means like similar fact patterns, you know, same motive, you know, same operation.
Oh, okay.
And so they're dumping them on me, and literally had people point me out like, that's him. These are robberies, bro.
And at this time, you only had one felony.
Well, actually, assault with a firearm and armed robbery and GTA, which is a violent, serious offense. All right.
Okay.
But it's my first time. I could probably get 4 years of halftime or something, you know?
Okay.
Well, so they hit me this modus operandi. And the cases are kind of shaky. I got some alibis that are kind of shaky. I could probably fight it a little, but they do have people point me out. So I end up taking 7.5.
Okay.
And so if I do good, I can get out in 3.5 years. And the problem with that was I'm a gang member.
So you didn't do good.
Yeah, I was already like stabbing guys in the county jail. I was doing dumb shit, bro.
Okay. Okay. So it was active immediately as soon as you got into county jail.
I already knew folks. You know
okay.
what I mean? Like, I got a prison and knew folks.
Okay.
You know? And so, you know, this is...
Which county jail was that?
It was in Orange County. Right?
Okay.
Now, odd thing is, this is a unique situation where I'm there and I have to make a decision on which direction I'm going because I know I'm going to prison. And so I remember just talking to like, you know, family members who've been in prison. They're like, brother, you're a white boy. You know what I'm saying? And you just got to keep it real. You know, you're not a Mexican. You don't need to fall under that shit. But here's some cats that are in Chino. When you get there, holler at them. You know?
Okay.
You know, so-and-so, you know, homeboy so-and-so. Oh, yeah, I know them cats. These are like NLR guys. You know what I mean? Okay. And they're established woods that'll, you know, take in. And back then, if you were like just clean, not a rat, not a sex offender, your own people took care of you as soon as you got to prison.
Okay.
Right? Once your paperwork clean, checked out, they were giving you tobacco, fish kit. Here you go, man. How much because you got to figure, the whites weren't like divided. We were like, we stayed together because we were a minority in there.
Right.
And, but I fell in with it. Come on, man. I'm a drug dealer. As soon as I get there, I'm already dealing drugs. I get to the county, I'm already tattooing. Okay. You know? And,
right away.
So, I mean, nothing changed.
Right.
Just because I got caught. I'm still a gangster, you know? I'm still a thug doing dumb shit. So basically I go there with 7 years and a half. And I remember this is in 91.
Right.
The end of 91. And I remember getting my first date when I was in Soledad prison. My first date was July 95.
July 95.
That's if I just do good. Okay. Right? I didn't get out till July of
Wait. We'll get there. That's a long road.
Dude.
That's a long road. But what I want to know the conversation. I want to know the conversation that you had with the guy who made the ultimate decision to say, all right, yeah, come home. be NLR. And for those that don't know, because I didn't know, NLR it stands for, obviously it's an acronym, Nazi Lowrider, correct?
Mhm.
And we won't get into too much of the history of it, but is it predominantly a prison gang? It started in prison?
It started in youth authority.
Okay.
Which is a state juvenile prison.
Okay.
For guys that are like juveniles and up to 25.
Yeah, we had the same thing.
Yeah, so started there and entered prison. But I mean, my whole thing was, even when I joined, I was just like, well, okay, this is my stepping stone to go into the AB. You know?
Okay.
See, now you can go from NLR to AB, but you can't go from AB to NLR. It don't work that way.
Mm,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
When we get into that, there's some politics behind this. Where
so NLR, all woods.
Put it this way. NLR, when I was coming into I don't know how it is now, but when I was coming into the system, NLR were the Serranos for the AB.
Okay. That's kind of what I thought.
Are for the
mafia? Right.
NLR has that same, it's a similar thing, although most of those NLR guys aren't from structured gangs on the streets. You understand?
Right.
Versus, so it's a kind of a different culture, whereas the Serranos are from structured gangs that have structure and operations of control.
Okay.
And when you have operations of control, little corridors areas, they're money-making machines that they can tax.
Okay.
Right? So, and the thing about running the prison system amongst your race, like if you run it for the whites in the prison, the gang that runs it, you can dictate shit on the streets. Because those dudes are criminals. They're coming to your playground eventually. They're all going to make their way.
Right.
You know? And maybe they got relatives in there that you're in your custody. Basically, you got it's extortion, bro.
Right.
You know, so there comes power with controlling the prison gang, controlling the politics amongst your race. They have tremendous power. They can project it to the streets.
Okay.
To other criminals doing, say, dudes that are moving weight, pushing weight, making meth, selling heroin, whatever. Those dudes pushing weight out in the neighborhood, those dudes can be taxed from the inside. And that goes for all different races, you know. Now, the blacks are not as structured like that when it comes to the gang system. It's a little different. They just tend to be more independent.
Right.
Minded, you know.
Right.
That's where the power comes from, is that you control the prisons, politics, you control the streets.
Okay.
You have the power to levy taxes.
Okay.
They all end up in prison. They know.
So dynamic wise, I guess if you put a percentage on it, what would you say NLR / Woods represented in the prison you were at?
There was, see, this is the funny thing about prison gangs, is you only need a handful of them, and you can project power like 100.
Okay.
It's a weird, and this is something that I came to understand real early, and it helped me. And there's a certain dynamic in there where most people, even though they're fucking thugs on the streets, they're in there and they're kind of scared.
Right.
All right. They're a little bit scared.
Right.
All men are scared to die.
Oh, for sure.
And it's a fact of life. And if you can understand that and realize that it's not a unique feeling you feel, because even when I first went there, there's a certain vibration and noise that prison has. It's kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
You get to these open units and it's like buzz and a humdrum, and eventually it's nothing. But when you first get there, you feel it. And you know that most people feel it. And a lot of people never stop feeling it. And that's like a lot of people. All right.
Right.
Me, it kind of washed on me for a minute and then it was gone. It was just part of life. I just embraced it. There was probably a dozen dudes at that unit, but it probably felt like there was 50 or 60.
Okay.
Now, there's probably only 100 whites on the yard.
Right.
On like a 800 man fucking thing, because we were like a minority.
Right.
And of those dudes, there's only a handful of stiff guys that are pushing the line, and they're projecting power like they're deep and they're everywhere, behind every corner.
Right.
You know, and that's how you control populations.
Right. And I think it plays right into what you're saying, which is that violence is ultimately what demands respect.
That's right. And throughout history of prison life, the whites have been the most violent by far. It's a fact. As far as like the brutal and bloodiest murders.
Okay.
And per capita, it's people die. Per capita, like when they're doing an assault, it's just we were trained in that in California.
Right.
Kill shots and just be violent, get bloody. You know.
Right.
You got to set examples. Just because you're a minority, you got to make it look like don't fuck with those dudes. Even though you can overcome them, somebody gonna die.
Right.
You
Someone's gonna go down.
That in the back of people's mind that there's the easier out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
This ain't the target.
Yeah, there's easier outs.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so bam. Here we are. You make the decision. You got to head down this road. It's the best thing for you. Would you say the guys that you were associating with were solid guys? You took a liking to them, or was it just survival? Was it a thing where you had to survive?
You know, it's part survival. You know, you got to mind you, there's a factor we didn't even discuss. I'm using drugs now.
Right? Okay.
Not only am I using drugs, I'm shooting heroin.
Okay.
Right? The reason I'm shooting heroin is because I'm selling it. It's in my hands all the time. And I'm just one of those cats that don't like speed. You know, I like that downer. You know?
Right.
And I guess it's, maybe I'm depressed. I don't know. I'm fucking dude. I am a problem child, total fuck up, just like most people in there. And I had access to heroin where I didn't have to pay for it. It was like, I'm just flipping it, you know? And so I'm making cash and I'm having people sell for me. And I'm a teenager, mind you.
Right.
You know, like I said, 130 pounds. I'm just a little dude, man.
Yeah.
I'm putting in work though. You know what I mean? I've already hit a couple dudes on the yard. It's like,
Okay.
Didn't get caught.
So let's get into that a little bit.
Let me tell you about my first day on the yard.
Yeah, tell me about that. Let me hear about that.
I'll never forget this. So I go to fucking Soledad prison, right? Well, first I end up in Chino. That's a reception center. But when you get to the prison, that's just a place where they receive guys from the county. They classify you. It's mostly slammed down. You get a yard here and there. And then they decide what level you are and where you're going.
Okay.
And usually it's like a 90-day process.
Okay. So like staffing.
Yeah. So eventually I make my way to fucking Soledad prison. That's an old prison in California. Okay. Now it's all low custody. But back then it wasn't. It was an old prison. I remember I was there. And when I got there, it's all locked down. There's like certain movement, but the north and the south, Sureños and the Norteños are killing each other. They're stabbing each other. So they're all locked down.
So this is when they were actually allowed to still be together.
Northern California. Yeah. Okay. And they're like wearing red rags, blue rags. You know who's who. They're like wearing colors and shit.
Okay.
This is back in the day, right? You've got these cats up there. They're stabbing each other. And mind you, I'm white. I'm celled up with whites. You know, I'm in that. I fall under that politic. I'm Nazi lowrider, which means I'm riding. It means I'm partaking in all the fringe benefits.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But there's a cost to that.
For sure.
Which means your hand is raised to do work and you're doing things, you know? And,
right.
So I get there, I meet some homies from South Bay area. You know, I won't say some names, but I'm not even sure. Most of those guys are probably dead or just no good. And a couple of guys might have got, I don't know. But my first day, you get classified, you're locked down for like 10 days, and then they get classified. So I go to the central yard. My first day on the central yard. I'm not designated there, but I can go wreck. Everybody in there that's waiting to get placed on which yards, because they got a level 1 yard, that's a soft yard. Like basically, it's a camp yard. They got dudes like that with us. They're just waiting for a bed to open up. They've been classified for that yard, so they're going to the central yard, which is a high. It's like level 3 and 4. All right.
Right.
And it's a big ass yard. And we're on lockdown. We just got off lockdown. And so there's high tension. The north and the south are going to get it off again. You know it. It's already been said. Right. We're trying to get into commissary. And that's why I told, hey, you better go to commissary because it's going to get locked down. Basically, you want to go get your tobacco, your coffee, and whatever you can because you're going to get locked in yourself for fucking like a month.
Right.
My first day, I get classified and I go out there. And I'm with guys on my row that I've been eating with and we do like when they run shower, you kind of meet other white dudes and shit. And this guys that I'm going to North Yard, which is level 3. It's on the other side of the prison. And I'm waiting for a bed to open up. So I'll go there. I'll probably, within a week, I should be gone.
Okay.
It's a level 1 guy. He's going to the camp. There's some other guy there staying in Central. So we're trying to get into in commissary. This is my first time on that yard. And, because I've been locked in my cell all the fuck since I've been there. And so we get there, it's fucking raining. It's raining hard, bro. You know? And I remember I had this fucking box on my head. It's like a top ramen box.
Right.
I was in there in line, and there's like 4 lines to the commissary. It's like a little store. It's a big ass yard. It's massive.
Right.
It's a big ass yard. And so I'm sitting there in the rain. I'm with some guys that are on my tier. We're all trying to get in. Get what we can, because we know there's tension. There's groups of Mexicans, the Southerners, and you can see them grouping, and you can see the colors. You know? Right. And obviously, we're in Northern California, but the North Indians had a little section of red. The rest of the yard is blue.
Oh.
You know? And so the North Indians are over there. They got their phones over there. And the whites and the Sureños share phones. And it's over here, and we share, like, areas. And we're kind of allied kind of. So when they're locked down, we're giving them knives, all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The North Daniels are over there, and we're in line. It's raining, trying to get in there, and some shit pops out by the handball court. Now, mind you, when I'm kind of fresh, you know, I'm just a kid. I'm 18 years old, right? And I see it. It's like a little skirmish out somewhere, and I look from the far distant. I'm in the line of fire. There's a gun tower where there's a bunch of gun towers, but there's a gun tower way over there, a perimeter tower, mind you. That's rare. Right. You know, he must have been looking to snipe somebody. You know what I'm saying? He knew that, they just let those cats off. They were looking to kill. I'm telling you, it's just had to have been. Right. Because usually these guys that are near will shoot. But a perimeter tower from the fucking fence line shot right by me. And there was a guy standing in the next line to me, bro. And he looked like a wet dog. He was a skinny little youngster. He had like hair. It was just down, pasted to his face. Right. He was shivering. And he lived like a couple cells down from me. And he shouldn't even been on the yard. He's level 1. You know what I mean? He's like a low security guy. He's just trying to get his tobacco and his coffee, bro. Yeah. Blew his fucking head off. No way. Well, it didn't blow. It's just, he's right here, and it's just a blood splat. Pah! Whoa. Just innocent bystander. We're in the line of fire. There's northern and southern Mexicans over here stabbing each other on the handball court. They're fired from the perimeter tower. Dude gets his dome popped. Wow. Right? And it's crazy. When that happens, they say, yard down. They're shooting. There's no warning shots in California. They just pop. All right. Yard down, yard down. Now we got to get down in the mud. Face down in the mud. They come out. You know what I mean? And we're kind of close to the incident. So when the cops come out, they come running from all the units, right? Everybody's down. And they got pepper spray, all kind of shit. And they're being covered by all the gunners now are focused. They're locked and loaded. And they're on the incident. You ain't doing shit. You know what I mean? Right. So they come out and they're stepping. They're fucking assholes. Well, I'm out there and I'm like in a puddle because I'm like, there's like a depression. I'm in a puddle, bro. Right. So I can't get all the way down or my mouth will be in water, you know? And this dude comes, this CO comes, this cop comes and steps on my back and pushes me down and it's all fucked up. And the reason I don't want to get down is because the dude's head that just got popped, he's like 2.5 feet from me. Ooh. And I'm downstream of him. So I'm literally in water and there's like gray matter floating, just blood and gray matter and chunks of skull in the water, like near my face.
First day on the yard.
First day on the yard.
First day on the yard.
And you know what's crazy? The weirdest fucking thing, man, is it was kind of cool. I mean, I know it's just weird, but I remember like...
What, 18?
I remember kind of like giggling. Like, whoa, this is... What the fuck? And I remember giggling when the dude stepped on my back and pushed me down into the water. And then it wasn't funny no more. I was pissed. But yeah. But I kind of got up and I was like breathing and I could just see my eye is kind of level with the water and I could see like chunks of skull with hair attached to it. And it's like inches from my face.
That's disgusting.
And the water's like
it's
red.
Disgusting. It's sad and disgusting at the same time.
Red. It's just fucking, bro.
That's nuts.
It's not a good day for most folks, yeah. But it was interesting. I mean,
that's nuts,
I'm
bro.
in a fucked up place, you know?
That's nuts. And so what, you guys end up getting locked down for
locked down, and I didn't make it a commissary. I was more bummed I didn't make it a commissary than this fucking schmuck gets his head popped. Yeah. I didn't know him. I mean, yeah. Poor guy, but hey.
I mean, that's a part of that life, man. It's a part of that.
Literally give up the ghost and like piss and shit on themselves on the yard. You know, I've seen it numerous times. Right. You know, the worst are when you know the guy and he's getting murdered And it's like, damn, he fucked up.
Yeah.
Cool dude. I mean, it's not your business. If you want to make it your business, you can get murdered too, you know?
Right. Right. So now that you bring that up, it's actually a question I was thinking about too, which is like, are hits mostly targeted, or are they random in the sense that when it's time for you to put in work, you just kind of choose your victim, so to speak?
Oh, no. You don't just discriminately stab people. That's no. Absolutely not.
Okay.
The only time that happens is race wars.
Okay.
And even then, you know who you're trying to get. But some people are just cowards, and they'll pick an easy out.
Okay.
Like, you know, they'll like, let's say it's the blacks and whites at war. I seen a dude in a fucking wheelchair get fucking his throat cut because he was white. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it, you know, it's a revenge tactic.
Part of the game, right? It's part of the game.
Injured he didn't like take a number from the gang. He just did it for clout. Like, oh, I got me a white dude. And the same thing happens with some white dudes. They'll just hit like some old dude, or they'll hit a black dude that wasn't a Crip. We're at war with the Crips.
Okay.
He's like, fuck it, he's black anyway. No, it don't work that way. You know?
Okay.
Just like, because a lot of dudes are just cowards. They're just going along with whatever it is. They're sheep. There's only a handful of stiff dudes that make all those cowards do work.
Right.
Know?
Right.
It's like dudes on the streets are popping guns.
Yeah. You just shooting
like,
aimlessly. You just shooting aimlessly.
They just fire the crowd, kill no kid. I mean, there's a lot of guys like that.
Yeah.
That's like, I'd say like a majority of the folks in the joint are like that, like where they're looking for the easy out.
Okay.
You know, it's usually how it works, man. Especially if you're being told to do something and you're doing it.
So your first hit, was your first hit something that you were sent to do, or was something you had to do on your own? Because that's always a thing too. And I wondered about that dynamic as well. You know, thinking about like related to the king shit and the gang shit, you know, you can't really have a personal beef. You know, everything has to be for the better of what is around you.
In theory. But it does, people they do handle personal shit.
Okay.
Usually it's people in power.
Okay.
Or these people that are connected to power that can get their shit washed up.
Okay.
Where it looks good again.
Clean their hands up.
Yeah, where they have carte blanche to act the asshole if they want.
Right.
Because they know people. It depends on who you know, man. Seriously.
Right.
But theoretically, yeah, you can, your gang that shit's squashed. And now the prison gang shit's different. The street gang stuff, even if they killed your homeboy, you know, the dude that did it, that was your friend. That shit's squashed, man. You know? But my first hit was in prison. And I hit a couple guys in the county, and they were just sex offenders. You know, I just sliced them with razor blades.
Right.
Those little safe there, you open them up, it's bloody and messy, but it's pretty hard to kill someone. You got to literally saw their neck off, basically, with those things. When you hit them, it just opens up. It's gross, nasty, kind of, you know, give them scars on their faces.
The $150.
Yeah. The gnarly stitches.
Yeah.
But when you're going to high security yard, you got to pass metal detectors. Sometimes it's hard to get like double-edged flat bar steel. And that's how you kill people. That's what you kill people with in prison.
Okay.
Double-edged flat bar steel. Otherwise, you're just using plastic knives with metal tips or razor blades. And I'm talking a high majority of those end in just hospitalization, stitches, and whatever.
Right.
That's like, I'm talking 90%.
Okay.
Right? I remember my first hit in prison was in Chino, the reception center. And this is a lesson I learned. So I get to Chino, I'm young. And I open my mouth. I fucking open my mouth and I go, hey, that dude right there, he ain't no good. And they're like, what do you mean? I go, I seen him. He locked it up in the county. And here he is on the GPU list. And they're like, really? You seen that? And so this guy's from Orange County.
Go take care of it.
So listen to this though. So they tell his homeboys, hey, you got to take care of this. And they're like, no, dude says that didn't happen. So now when that happens, that means his homeboys stiffened up.
Right.
And they're like, no, who said that? And that young kid right there said that. And they're like, yeah. And so mind you, I'm out here and I'm like, I guess I'm a little scared, but I'm a little excited. I'm like, you know what? Okay. Do this then. Like, what? We're going to fight? And they're like, no. And I got homies like, hey, bro, I got a piece for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
and somebody gave me an ice pick. It was just a piece of metal. In fact, it wasn't even a white dude. It was when I got the Chino, I knew more Sureños than I did white people.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you're hood.
Yeah.
Right.
So there was a couple guys there from my neighborhood. There was another guy there he's from Rancho San Pedro. And I'm not a Sureño, but I know these cats. They live around me in the unit, and I'm in a section where I don't really have homeless, but the dudes I'm fucking with in the section, like, they're all Sureños. Dudes from the Harbor area, South Bay. You know, Harbor area and South Bay are the same thing.
Okay.
If you're white, you claim South Bay. So when the white goes, hey, I'm South Bay, he's basically declaring he's a wood.
He's a white guy.
If it's a white guy says I'm from the Harbor area, he's basically declaring he's a Sureño.
Okay.
That is a distinction that people from that area understand. So I guess I'm from South Bay. And, but I know these cats because I was on the streets doing dirt. They knew some of these cats knew who I was.
Right, right.
So this dude from Rancho, which is kind of like, we didn't really get along, those guys on the streets. But he's like, here, bro. And I like the idea of even my own people not knowing I got a piece. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They were offering, but I'm like, I already got one. And I got it from a Sureño. He gave me an ice pick. And he had it in his chair. In the fucking thing on his chair that he sits on every day and draws.
Okay.
You know? And he had two. He might have had more, but he was just, here, bro. It was sharpened, handle on it, everything. And thing about ice picks is you got to hit vital. You got to hit hard. You got to get hard shots.
Okay.
Or push through the eye and like, hit him in the brain or something.
Okay.
And I'm not skilled in all this. I'm just like, I figure, you see a movie and you poke a motherfucker in the torso, he drops.
Right.
It don't work like that.
Don't work.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. Same thing when you shoot somebody.
True. Now, unless you blow his head off or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I see dudes literally get run through their heart and run across the yard at least and collapse. But I mean, they still ran across the fucking yard.
Right.
You know? It's kind of weird that you don't poke a guy, you just fall. Well, anyways, I got an ice pick. So now I got to deal with him. And I can see the guy, he's over there talking to his partners. They're on the yard. And we're in different units. This is like dorm living, all right? Okay. I go to the West Yard. Or was it the West Yard? Chino? Something in West Yard in Chino. I'm a kid, all right? And it was cool because it's kind of free. You're in dorm living, waiting to go to your fucking thing, right? To the place they designate you. I'm waiting to go to Solid. They were sending first-termers there and violators. And so there's a bunch of dudes just on violation parole and a bunch of first-termers with newbies. And that's the mix that was there. So a lot of violators. So there's a lot of old dudes that are violating and shit. And I booked this dude. But the way I got him was pretty bold is because I didn't get him on the yard. I jumped out of my window. There's like at nighttime we have day room. The window's open and there's some movement, but it's privileged people can move between. I can't. I'm just a regular dude. But I pop out the window and I go into the next unit at night before lockdown, before the day room night count.
Now, they can shoot you right now. Yeah. If somebody in the tower sees you, you're dead.
Yeah, it's not a wise move, man.
Because you're escaping.
Yeah, it's not wise. And so I jump in, I pop into their unit through a window, bro. All right?
Yeah, I think it's clear.
Now there's all
wives' moves are out the window. Wives' moves have been gone.
Yeah.
Those are gone.
You know, the thing about this is when you do moves like that, people respect those moves.
Right.
All right?
Because there's a lot more risk.
Yeah, so he's going to be on the yard waiting for me the next morning. And he's probably strapped because his homeboys are like, here's a piece you got to fucking represent.
Okay.
And
this dude's a wood too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm not going to be a victim, man. I just innately knew that I'm going to catch this dude slipping. So I pop into his unit. And he's in the next one over. All right. I don't remember the name of these dorms, but I pop out and I jump into his. And I had a homeboy over there that was expecting me. And so he was like right there by the window. When I get in, they shut it. And I'm cruising, I'm moving through. And I got this fucking beanie down. I got a fucking Big Ben jacket on. You know? I book this fool. I catch him in the back. I stab him like 3 or 4 times. He didn't even, you don't bleed when you get stabbed with ice picks, bro. You know what I mean? So I book him, hit him. It will puncture this long and he bounced. He rolled it up. But see, the thing is he confirmed it because he went and he ran to the police. Get me, help me.
Okay.
And so my word, I told you.
And you can't do that.
No, you can't ask police for nothing.
Okay.
You can't ask police for help. Get me out of here. You can't say, get me out of here. That's locking it up.
Okay.
You got to settle your affairs. All right?
Okay.
You get stabbed, you patch it up.
Okay. God damn.
You get stabbed, you rub some dirt on it.
God damn. Walk that shit off.
Hey, but if you're
God.
dying, you're bleeding out, no one's gonna fault you.
Yeah.
Hey, homie, somebody call. You know?
Yeah.
So you just don't do it yourself.
Okay.
You have some lame cult man down on you.
Right.
You don't do it yourself. So he goes to the man, panicked. I caught him. He didn't have a strap. Booked him. He didn't even see me coming. And so I booked him, and I pop out the window, and I get back in.
Nice.
Got slewed away with it.
Nice.
But there's a handful of dudes that are like, damn, bro. You know, that's crazy. You know? Okay. You know, and that was my first prison move. And the county cut a couple guys up there chopping them. But that was my first prison move, and my homeboys were like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Right.
Fuck with that little
So now they're starting to see that you're an asset.
Yeah.
And they want you around. And it's all because of what we were talking about earlier, where that violence is what
volume.
demands respect.
You could be wrong. Now let's say this. Let's say I was making it up. I went over there and booked that fool.
Right.
My homies are going to believe me and ride hard with me.
Right.
Now, when I say my homies, it's the guys from my car. And if I'm not affiliated with a gang, it'll be the guys from my area, which is South Bay.
Okay.
And if I'm affiliated with a gang, it'll be the guys from my area, South Bay, and the prison gang. All right?
Okay.
So it's multiple layers now.
Right.
So now you got to remember, I'm 18 years old, bro.
Okay. And did they make you immediately as an LR member?
The thing is this. Odd thing is that back then, I just got embraced, and they just said he's NLR now. And the reason they said that is because there's some cats that were NLR from my neighborhood, and they're the Thorpe brothers.
Okay.
Ricky, Rob, and Ronnie. All right? And I knew a couple of them cats on the street. I knew Rick. They were in and out of prison when I was young.
Right.
But I knew Rick, and I was just on the streets with him. Now, all these guys are long gone. Two of them, I think, are dead. One, I don't know where he's at. He's in another state somewhere.
Right.
You know, but these guys are hardcore. They're riders, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I was just on the streets with Rick Thorpe. Bucky was hanging out, running around the streets with him. And he was in alarm. He got out, and he was straight up. Just done a big term. And a homeboy of mine, Mike Eimel, who's dead now, too. And
so being able to drop that name,
I was already embraced, bro.
Put
by
you
the
in.
South Bay Cats, they're like, oh yeah, oh yeah, he's in alarm. Yeah, he's in alarm. There was just no question.
Right.
Oh, he's in alarm. Oh, is it? Okay. And then I booked that dude, did that crazy move. They're oh yeah, that's my homeboy.
Okay.
You know, so Ian.
All right. Yeah. So, obviously, this was a taste of the whole interview. One part of it, but definitely grabs your attention right away, man. I think about the similarities to just gang life, and how across the board it's usually the common signs, all those things, they just line up, and it ends up creating the same kind of animal, gang wise, just like people's backgrounds and neighborhoods, and it always creates, the chemistry is always the same, and I think I took that away right away, man, because during this interview I was actually right in front of him. We were sitting across the table from each other, and Blue's older than me. He's probably, man, he's probably 50, right, or close to it, or I just think about how crazy it is, no matter what, the generations, apart, the separation, but in different parts of the country, different times. And it's like, it's always the same kind of things that create the same kind of results, right? It's like, no matter what, the recipe always kind of remains the same, right? And so I think that's what I took away, man. And just thinking about, also the differences, though, they like just talking about, like, when he was first coming around, they used to do all the carjacking, and that's something that we never really got into. I've never jacked a car, especially like somebody in it. No, I've never done that.
Or the when what is it? They go to the front door and they set off the car alarm so they know that the person's gonna come down with their car keys and just steal the keys from them when they get to the door.
Ballsy, right? Ballsy.
Yeah, like I mean, when you think about it, it probably works, but wow,
Yeah.
ballsy. So,
Right.
the one thing and for the listeners, we do not actually, it may seem like in this podcast that we listen to the episode and then come right back on and do this, but we're actually recording this after we listen to the episode. So some of my memories may be a little foggy because it was 2 days ago since I listened to this, but I believe when he originally said it, he was originally sent to prison for 3.5 years. But am I right on that? Do you remember off the top of your head?
He got 7, but you do 3.5.
Okay.
You would have got home. Yeah, he got 7 years.
So, but the point is that he went into prison and he didn't get out until he was 48. And this is what I think is the most amazing thing about this story is just to see, like, I mean, the prison system made him the criminal he is today.
Right.
that he was like, he had nothing of a sentence, and it turned into however, I don't even know, 20
It was
20
life.
some odd
It
years.
was life. It was life. He was
Yeah.
lucky to get off that life sentence. But you know what, man? It's like, I think that's a dynamic that is, if I'm reading it right, I think that's really, really more common on the West Coast, especially in Cali. You don't hear about a lot of that going on in the Midwest. Maybe a little more now, but you didn't hear about it a lot. As far as guys going to prison and then committing murders and getting life sentences while they're in prison, like that. That wasn't that's not like a thing. I know nobody personally that's done that, and so I just think about that, like, man, that was common over there because I've met a few West Coast guys, and there's a few guys like, yeah, man, I went in with 9 years, I went in with 6 years, and this happened or that happened, and I think it's really cool to be able to understand the dynamic of what he ultimately turned into. When he explained just how that buzz when you get into prison, and he talks about how that went away for him. He's right, man. There's a lot of people that never goes away for them, and so he just adapted, and then the next thing you have to do is to strive in that environment. And so I think it's just really crazy, man, to be able to go through it with him and his mindset, and then ultimately talk about real guys. He was dealing with real Mexican mafia members, real Aryan Brotherhood members. Like, these are cream of the crop when it comes to California prison gangs. These are people that are controlling prisons, controlling money, the politics behind it, and then ultimately, I'll give a little bit of a spoiler, but ultimately the poison of it, and how really those guys are, from my understanding, all really just drug addicts, man. And they're just having people, basically extorting people, extorting their own kind, extorting their own people. And so, man, it's just crazy how he kind of lays it out for us. And like I said, man, this is really just the tip of the iceberg. I've known Blue for a while. I've had conversations with him numerous times, and so I know he knows a lot of shit. He knows a lot of people. He knows a lot of history. Anybody that's ever been anybody in the Aryan Brotherhood, Blue knows, and that's all the way to the two top dogs, Baron Mills and Teddy Bingham. And so, he's a wealth of knowledge. And it was a really good episode, man. And I'm excited for people to hear the next part.
Yeah, and the other thing I thought that this interview does a really good job of, because two really, really strong things that we've talked a lot about on this podcast has been the hypocrisy of gangs, which I think Steve's interview really, really showed the hypocrisy within gangs really well. And another big theme that we've talked about is just how the prison system is broken. Right. And I think that this interview takes that next step and just gives a prime example of how scary the prison system can be, and how I think anybody that didn't realize it before can listen to this story and say, okay, I don't think that's how the prison system should work, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not old enough and I'm not experienced enough to really make a judgment call on the violence that's in like the upper echelon Federal Bureau of Prisons, because I know it's there. Them United States penitentiaries, um, they're out to kill. But I will say this: from everything growing up into, like just growing up into like street and criminal life, I've always heard that the precedent has been set from the California state prison systems. Yeah, I'm talking about from the YA, from the Youth Authority all the way up. Because I mean, you think about it, the NLR, which is actually what he was, that group started in the Youth Authority.
Okay.
And so, their prison politics are they're bred in them from kids all the way up. It's funny. It's actually going to be in my Patreon episode that we're going to talk about. But the politics that go along with prison and just how that dynamic, whatever part of the chain you're in, kind of dictates what you do. And I'll explain that. It's really simple, man. There's different people who are on soldier levels and they're always on attack mode, and there's people who have to do the thinking and they have to do the scheming and the planning, and those ones they're a little more valuable, because they create things for the organization, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
They create opportunities, and so I'm going to get into that. But I think that was one of the crazy things is like California state prison system, man, is really known for violence. It's really known for like death, man, death behind bars, basically.
Yeah. And I don't know, but I don't think that's what our prison system should be known for.
No, for sure, man. You know what I'm saying? For sure. Yeah, you're not going to hear about like a bunch of people dying in Wisconsin prisons. Like, yeah, people get fucked up, but not like that. They're not playing with knives and shit like that. It's just a different ball game.
Yeah, and it's a scary ball game too. So
Sure.
I don't know. Do you got anything else for this one, or should we?
No. Yeah, that's. I think everybody should look forward to the second part, and I definitely think everybody's gonna enjoy it.
So we will be back in 2 weeks with the second part to Blue's episode. And as always, we do have an email address. If you want to reach out to us, you can reach out at normalizedcrime@gmail.com. And we also do have a Patreon, as Berto talked about a little bit. And that can be found at patreon.com/normalizedcrime. We want to thank everybody for their continued support of this podcast. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to Normalized Crime. Stay tuned for the next episode.